with the extra point. This is Erik McKinney, joined by Greg Katz. And Greg, an absolutely wild day when it comes to the potential of a fall Pac-12 season. We heard from California Governor Gavin Newsom. We heard from Pac-12 Commissioner Larry Scott. It all sort of got kicked off the day before with a letter from the USC football players. Give me your, I guess, your biggest takeaway from everything that we've seen really over the last 24 hours.
Just how important the college football playoffs are to everybody. And everyone has a stake. Ohio State probably swung the vote for the Big Ten to have a season. It shows you how much power they have. And the fact of the matter is they have a team that's probably going to, from what I read, what you want to believe, that they've been basically told they're going to be in the playoffs, which I think is completely absurd. Not that they aren't capable of doing it or don't belong in there, but let's not even plant that rumor. Isn't playing the games? I see it as working backwards from the playoffs. Then you have Ohio State wielding that. Then you have the Big Ten saying they're going to start in October. Okay, and so then you get the Pac-12 coming on the heels of the letter from the USC players and apparently other schools, to Gavin Newsom to please let us play, which I thought was no problem on their part. I mean, they have a right to do it, but really, it's like I know this is going to come out bad, so take it for what it's worth. It's like the kids telling you they're speaking with their hearts. Let's put it that way. I think the adults are speaking, especially the Pac-12. Pac-12 is going to take a lot of crap. But the bottom line is I think they really do care about the student athletes. I think they really care about the health issues. And I totally 110% agree with them. But I believe if everything is workable health-wise, they should kick off. They should play. Now, the big question, the big elephant in the room is, why are you going to kick off in November if you aren't going to get in the playoffs? What's the point? You're going to keep playing into January when the playoffs are going on? And what's the point if you're not going to be in the playoffs? Which also tells you how absurd the college football playoffs are this particular season. If the Pac-12 is going to have a season, they should look at, you're only going to be playing teams in your own conference. So what are you going to do? Rank the conferences and decide who gets in? Maybe the Pac-12 is thought of as the fifth best conference in America. I don't know. There's certainly not one or two, that's for sure. So what happens if the Pac-12 has a team, USC, let's just say for the sake of argument, SC goes undefeated and doesn't get into the playoffs? Doesn't it make more sense to just say for this year we expand the playoffs so that all conference champions get in? Whether you have to give the top two seeds a bye or what have you, they can do it. But there's pressure now on the Pac-12 to when they're going to start their season. Because if they start their season late, it'd be silly to even play a season to me if you're going to play 6 games, 5 games, and you don't even have a chance to get in the playoffs. So in a roundabout way, it's a domino effect, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think what's interesting is how fast things got done as soon as sort of public pressure was applied. And obviously the question will be, what would have happened had this happened, a month ago or a month and a half, 2 months ago? Does that speed things up? I think that early September date of the Pac-12 being able to announce that partnership to get those 15-minute antigen tests on machines on campus by September 30th is the date marked for that. To be able to then say, okay, we have our testing in place, that is the gigantic hurdle that a lot of the medical advisors to the Pac-12 had sort of set up. Once they were able to do that, really the thing that stands out to me is how much power seemingly USC has been wielding in this recently. And I think that's something where if you're USC, if you're Mike Bohn, if you're the USC players really, you have to keep that in mind, I think, going forward. The idea that, I guess with Oregon's performance on the field, it's tough to say, USC is the current sort of flagship program in terms of on-field performance, but USC is the Pac-12, and being able to sort of see that in how this is played out, I think that becomes kind of a big factor for USC in terms of that Pac-12 pecking order, and kind of needing to remind themselves this is what they can do. This is sort of the power that they can wield in this conference, in conversations like this, and then also going forward in conversations that are very important to the conference too. So I think that is kind of a takeaway. It's a side effect, right? No, or a side conversation. The biggest thing is going to be, it does look like we're getting Pac-12 football in the fall. Like you mentioned, a start date in mid-November compared to a start date in mid to late October could be a huge difference in terms of potentially getting into that college football playoff. And I think we'll find out more about that. But that momentum seems to be building, where the Pac-12 is realizing, if we're going to play, now that the Big Ten has sort of abandoned that idea of that January potential partnership, they've got to figure out how to get in there, and applying that pressure. It really does feel like they're going to find a way to get it done, to play a season, and maybe find a way to get into that conversation, at least for playing for a right to be named one of those Final Four teams in the college football playoff.
Well,